Alright, my presentation is on the level of emotional expressiveness and its effects on feelings of depression by me, Braden Stone. So to begin, I'm going to be discussing emotional expressiveness itself and how it relates to my study. Emotional expressiveness is individual differences in the extent to which people outwardly display their emotions. So it's a range of either not expressing your emotions often or at all, or in any way, to expressing your emotions often and in many ways. The first point I'll be talking about is emotional expressiveness and what it is linked to. So as it relates directly to the topic of depression, a 2023 study from October found that emotional expressiveness was not only linked to some negative emotions, which can directly possibly lead to depression, but it was linked to internalization of problems, which again can possibly lead to depression through buildup of stress, problems, strife, sadness, etc. Building on to other points that are going to build, emotional expressiveness was in a winter of 2002 study was found to be related to extroversion and emotional intelligence. The study found that there was a significant overall positive relationship between extroversion and emotional expressiveness, regardless of the type of expressiveness measure, whether that was negative or positive. And it also found that your ability to express your emotions accurately was an important component of emotional intelligence. This again kind of hammers on the point of that it is not only just being able to express your emotions, but it's being able to express them accurately and in a positive manner, as the October 2023 study talked about how negative family expressiveness had a direct connection to the internalization of problems through things such as emotional clarity, which is, again, being able to accurately express and understand your emotions, and then emotion dysregulation. Negative expressiveness, as a definition, means difficulty expressing and communicating emotions clearly and in a timely manner. The evidence from that 2023 study suggested that negative family expressiveness always related to poorer emotional expressiveness among adolescents, which led to even more negative emotions and internalizing problems, which shows the direct link between emotional expressiveness and depression. So, as it relates to my second point, emotional intelligence, this is where things start to build on each other and start to show the clear link. So, a 2024 study found that emotional intelligence is positively related not only to positive psychological characteristics, but psychological well-being and even academic achievement. They also found, as we're starting to build on the second link, that emotional intelligence predicts, again, psychological well-being, but they also, which is defined as the presence of positive emotions, life satisfaction, lack of negative emotion, which is again that direct link, another direct link to depression, as psychological well-being is basically happiness or unhappiness. But they also found that emotional intelligence itself, in the same March of 2023 study that we see here by Pimple, they also found that is affected by social support, which is going to be our next link that we talk about, is the link to social support. So they found that extroversion, so again, here's where we start to talk about another link, our third link, extroversion to social support. So a 2023 study by Lewis, a 2013 study by Lewis found that extroversion as a trait was associated with higher PSS, or perceived social support. Another study from July of 2012 found that extroversion had a significant positive relationship, again, with social support. And social support is the concept of having those people around you that are going to support you. Your social network is going to support you. It's not just you on your own. And again, this is another direct link to depression. If as people who are high in extroversion were able to get more social support, even if it was just perceived social support, and they're able to create those links that they may be able to not be alone in their problems, not subject themselves to possibly worsening depression, and we're able to talk through their problems. So again, as we get through our links here, this last and final link was social support being linked to depression and its symptoms. This third point here is kind of on its own, talking about how being extroverted is relating to social support, which shows that emotional intelligence or emotional expressiveness, being able to express yourself, being able to possibly be extroverted, get yourself out there, talk about your problems, express your problems, like we were saying, you're going to be able to have that social support. You're going to be able to combat things like depression. You're going to be able to get through depression and hopefully combat that. So our final link is social support being linked to depression. This same study by Boyraz in 2012 showed that social support there was a marginally significant link between social support and depression symptoms itself. And they also found that a decrease in perceived social support over a 12-month period was associated with an increase in depression symptoms. And there was another study from February 2024, that found that mood and quality of social support, not just having your social support, but again, doing it in a positive manner, having a better quality of any of these things is going to be a buffer. Well, in this case, it's perceived quality of social support. Social support itself was a buffer between perceived stress and their person's quality of life. So as we move on to the study itself, we're going to my hypotheses, which is that participants that are low in emotional expressiveness will experience stronger feelings of depression than those high in emotional expressiveness. So our method is we're going to have a group of 100 participants, which will be consisted of 50 males and 50 females. So we're going to start with a pretest, which is going to be the expression of emotions scale. We're going to split the participants by taking those with the scores in the top 33% and labeling them as high in emotional expressiveness, and those with the bottom 33% will adversely be labeled as low in emotional expressiveness. Then we will take those participants and we will give them the Center for Epidemiologic Studies Depression Scale, also known as the CESD. So we're going to take those two groups, we're going to administer the CESD to both of them, and then we're going to see if there's a correlation between the levels of emotional expressiveness, whether that be high or low, and then their scores on the CESD, which would mean their level of depression. My data analytic strategy, I'm going to be taking one independent variable, which is my emotional expressiveness variable, and then we're going to take the two levels, which is high or low in emotional expressiveness. We're going to go over the same group of subjects, which means it's going to be a between subjects design. My dependent variable is the level of depression. It's going to be measured using an interval scale, and that level of depression is again going to be high or low. And then we're going to be measuring our data with an independent samples t-test. We are choosing the independent samples t-test because having a dependent variable being an interval scale, that means we want to use the means as a basis of comparing the groups, which is why we're using the t-test. And finally, we have my references page, which shows all my stuff from my emotional expressiveness slide.